Coming soon, a different kind of superhero movie. Hollywood's pantheon of superheroes just got a little more crowded. On Wednesday, Warner Bros. Announced that Gal Gadot, best known for her supporting role in the Fast and Furious franchise, will appear in the coming Man of Steel sequel as Wonder Woman. Opposite Henry Cavill's Superman and Ben Affleck's Batman. It's a welcome announcement, but a report from earlier this week, which drew far less attention, may have far larger ramifications for DC Comics' future on the big screen. According to a source at Bleeding Cool, David Goyer, one of the writers behind the Dark Knight trilogy, along with Man of Steel and its upcoming sequel, is also developing several smaller projects based on relatively obscure DC Comics titles, including Suicide Squad, Booster Gold, Deathstroke, and Team 7. Each of those projects will reportedly be budgeted at somewhere between $20 million to $40 million. And if Goyer plans to remain faithful to the source material, that may finally be the first truly adult-oriented superhero movies to make a big splash on the big screen. It's also the first news indicating that DC plans to do anything other than emulate the same kind of cinematic universe that Marvel has built with its own stable of superheroes. It's hard to argue with Marvel's strategy, which would allow them to amass a staggeringly lucrative cinematic empire in just 5 years. Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, Thor, and Captain America begat the Avengers, the third highest grossing movie in history, which subsequently begat FBC's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and turned the Thor sequel into a bigger hit than the original. But the sadness of their approach is starting to set in. A Star Trek Into Darkness with a writer, Damon Lindelof, recently conceded in an interview with New York Magazine. Injecting more money into a franchise tends to have a homogenizing effect. Once you spend more than $100 million on a movie, you have to save the world. Unfortunately, that effect has since grown into one of the foundations of the superhero genre, and is reflected in both the sky-high budget and the family-friendly rating of the modern superhero movies. Some context: there are 38 superhero movies rated G, PG, and PG-13 that earned more at the box office than Warner Bros. Underperforming Watchmen, the first R-rated superhero movie to appear on the list. The other R-rated superhero movies are similar oddities. There is the Gore Black trilogy, which came before the current wave of superhero blockbuster, and which many viewers never realized was based on a comic. There's a Kick-Ass in and its Secret, which earned a cult following by the offering of bloodier riff on superhero tropes. There are 19 other titles like Judge Dredd and Darkman, and 2 failed attempts to launch a franchise based on The Punisher. At the very bottom of the list are Orgasmer, Super, and the Specials, 3 adult-oriented, micro-budget oddities, and that never earned more than a tiny but devoted following on home video. Those kinds of movies have since dropped off altogether. But all that repetition means that there has never been a riper time to introduce a little movie diversity into the superhero genre, which feels a little more sharp-worn with every new movie featuring an origin story or earth-shaking threat. To be fair, Marvel clearly realized this is a problem on their horizon. Thor: The Dark World is as much as a Lord of the Rings style fantasy epic as a superhero movie. And the upcoming Captain America: The Winter Soldier has been described as a 70s style Cold War thriller. But despite their steps at cross-genre appeal, each of those movies cost well over $100 million to produce, and consequently, each movie has the same larger-than-life stakes as the rest of Marvel's line-up. By contrast, the DC Universe has more of its properties proposed by Gore, which including titles like Deathstroke and Suicide Squad. As the titles indicate, those comics are packed with characters far darker than the superheroes that have conquered the box office in recent years. Deathstroke is a brutal, violent, anti-heroic mercenary, and the Suicide Squad is a DC Universe equivalent of the Dirty Dozen, a team of incarcerated supervillains sent on high-risk missions by the U.S. government in exchange for commuted sentence. The news that Warner Bros. Might be tackling some of DC Comics' rougher characters won't necessarily be cause for celebration on its own. There are plenty of comic book characters, including Daredevil, John Constantine, and Spawn, whose more adult-oriented story were ignored in favor of something with a little more mass appeal. Nor does an R rating necessarily indicate a better take on the material. Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy was plenty adult without extending beyond a PG-13, and Kick-Ass R rating didn't make it any more mature than its box office rivals. But whatever the execution, the basic concept of lower-budgeted titles based on lesser-known characters is an enormously refreshing change from the tiny box Hollywood currently plays superhero comics in. There are so many superhero movies in the pipeline right now, and it's time to stop thinking of them as a subgenre of the action movie, and time to start thinking of them as a genre of their own, capable of telling stories that can be compelling and lucrative with diversity in tone, budget, or rating. Fortunately, it shouldn't be too hard. Superhero comics have always been more diverse than the stories that have recently made it to the big screen. Is it true that Hollywood's older superhero movies, for all their flaws, actually used to reflect, and it's the perfect time to get back there again. Report NSA tracks billions of cell phones daily. The National Security Agency checked the location of nearly 5 billion cell phones every day overseas, including those belonging to Americans abroad, the Washington Post reported Wednesday. The NSA inadvertently gathers the location records of tens of billions of Americans who travel abroad annually, along with the billions of other records it collects by tapping into worldwide mobile network cables, the newspaper said in a report on its website. Such data means the NSA can track the movement of almost any cell phone around the world, and map the relationship of the cell phone user. The Post said a powerful analytic computer program called CoTraveler crunches the data of billions of unsuspecting people, building patterns of relationship between them by where their phones go. That can reveal a previously unknown terrorist suspected in guilt by cell phone location association, for instance. As the NSA doesn't know which part of the data it might need, the agency kept up to 27 terabytes, or more than double the text content of the Library of Congress print collection, the Post said. A 2012 international NSA document said the volumes of data from the location program were outpacing our ability to ingest, process, and store it, the newspaper said. The program is detailed in documents given to the newspaper by former NSA systems analyst Edward Snowden. The Post also quotes unidentified NSA officials saying they spoke with the permission of their agency. Swan Turner, a spokesman for the Office of Director of National Intelligence, declined to comment on the report. The DNI's General Counsel, Robert Leach, has said that NSA does not intentionally gather bulk location data on U.S. cell phones inside the U.S., but NSA Director Cass Alexander testified before Congress. His agency ran tests in 2010 and 2011 on samples of U.S. cell site data to see if it was technologically possible to plug such data into NSA analysis systems. Alexander said that the information was never used for intelligence purposes and that the testing was reported to congressional intelligence committees. He said it was determined to be of little operational value, so the NSA did not ask for permission to gather such data. Senator Wyden, a Democrat and a member of the Senate Intelligence Committee, said at the time that Alexander could have explained more. The intelligence leadership has decided to leave most of the real story secret. Wyden said, though he would not elaborate on the extent of the program. Wyden and the two other Democratic lawmakers have introduced an amendment to the 2014 defense spending bill that would require intelligence agency to say whether the NSA or any other element of the intelligence community has ever collected the cell site location information of a large number of United States persons with no known connection to suspicious activity or made plans to collect such information. Alexander and other NSA officials have explained that when U.S. data is gathered incidentally overseas, it is minimized, meaning that when an NSA analyst realizes they are dealing with a U.S. phone number, they limit what can be done with it and how long the data can be kept. Rights activists say those measures fall short for protecting U.S. privacy. The scale of foreign surveillance has become so vast, the amount of information about Americans incidentally captured may itself be approaching mass surveillance levels, said Elizabeth Golden of the Brennan Center for Justice, Liberty, and National Security Program. The government should be targeting its surveillance at those suspected of wrongdoing, not assembling massive associational databases that, by their very nature, record the movements of a huge number of innocent people, said Catherine Cramp, a staff attorney for American Civil Liberties Union. Wonder Woman cast for Batman and Superman film. Wonder Woman is finally coming to the big screen. Israel-born actress Gal Gadot has been cast as Wonder Woman in Warner Bros. Superhero team-up film with Batman and Superman, the studio announced Wednesday. Already starring in the current untitled film are Ben Affleck as Batman and Henry Cavill as Superman. Created in the 1940s, the outfitted in patriotic colors, Wonder Woman was most famously played by Linda Carter in the 1970s. Wonder Woman television series, but despite the character's considerable cultural impact, Wonder Woman hasn't previously made it into the movies. Wonder Woman's inclusion in the film brings it closer to a foregathering of DC Comics' Justice League, which also features The Flash, Aquaman, and others. Warner Bros. hasn't announced any further casting in the film, expecting that it will return many of the stars of Zack Snyder's Superman reboot Man of Steel. Gadot is a former model who competed for Israel in the 2004 Miss Universe pageant. She has starred in several of the Fast and Furious films, including Fast and Furious 6 released earlier this year. Wonder Woman is arguably one of the most powerful female characters of all time and a fan favorite in DC Universe, director Zack Snyder said in a statement. Not only is Gal an amazing actress, but she also has that magic quality that makes her perfect for the role. A sequel to Snyder's Man of Steel, the Batman Superman film is set to begin production earlier next year and to be released in July 2015. Most popular puppy names of 2013. The end of this year is a great time to sit back, reflect, and be grateful for all the wonderful things that have happened in the past year, like puppies and their names. Just like we did with the top puppy names of 2011 and top puppy names of 2012. We searched through Vestry's database of 925,000 puppies born since January 1st to determine what the most popular puppy names of the year are. While the top 10 don't yield too many surprises, we're noticing a few trends and have our eyes on a few rising stars. Check out Vestry.com's infographic below or go to this link and click on the image to view a larger version. Top 10 female puppy names. The female puppies mix things up a bit this year. The top 4: Bella, Daisy, Lucy, and Molly remain number 1 through 4 for the straight year. Previously, Daisy had held the top spot for 2 years, and Molly has been number 1 for 4 years before that, but Lola, which has moved up steadily over the past decade and dropped 3 spots to land at number 5, dropped 2 places to number 7. Sadie and Sophie changed their order and moved up, claiming number 5 and 6. Cody and Maggie held tight at number 8 and number 10, but last year number 9, Coco, dropped down to number 12 after only a year on the top 10 list, with Zoe moving up from 2012. Top 10 male puppies names. While there was a bit of pleasing hoping the top 10 most popular male puppy names stayed the same. In fact, the top 5 were exactly the same as last year, with Max number 1 for the at straight year body at number 2 after spending 4 years in the number 1 spot, and Charlie, Rocky, and Cooper rounding it out. Number 6 to number 10 saw a bit of movement, with Doc moving up 2 spots to number 6 and Jack moving up 1 to land at number 8, which caused Beer and Bendy to move down on the list 1 and 2 spots respectively. Toby continued to hold its position at number 10. Puppy name to watch. Zoe isn't the only rising star in the top 50 names, but it's worth noting that it has been gaining popularity quickly, moving up from number 33 10 years ago. Luna is the hottest female puppy name on the list, moving up from number 84 a decade ago and jumping 5 spots since only last year, from number 18 to number 13. Daiso, which landed at number 13 this year, is the hottest male puppy name, climbing 3 spots since last year. The trend of using traditional human and classic pet names seems to be holding strong as we make our way toward 2014. Will those trends continue? Only time will tell. Can get enough of pet names? Take a look at some recent fun pet lists. Photographer captures stunning image of northern lights. Well, the scientific term is Aurora Borealis, which is the goddess of light. Parkhurst says it's totally spiritual because it's so powerful. It's beyond your imagination. When Parkhurst moved to Alaska in 1981, people told him about the light shows. They also said, "Don't bother trying to photograph it." Parkhurst says that became a challenge for him. It's kind of a fickle light, he says. Films got better and it's better than it's even been now. You only have seconds when that is blurred. They can cover, 180 degrees of the sky in a few seconds. It was there below zero when CBS News visited Parkhurst at his home in Anchorage. Even when it was 58 below, he still went out to see the light. I tell people it's angelic, he says, something that's indescribable to some point, unless you were under them and experiencing them. The aurora appears when highly charged solar winds strike particles on the edge of space. Alaska is the best place in the U.S. to see the northern lights, but even here, with 20 hours of dark winter skies, there's no guarantee, and it's meant for a long-haul shift. Parker says sometimes you are packed earlier, sometimes you are packed late or not at all. Parker gets paid by selling his more than 15,000 images. He also organized aurora sightseeing tours. Green auroras are the most common. Red are rarest, seen just 6 to 10 times each decade. It never gets old. Parker says Every shoe is like a fingerprint, so you are experiencing that moment and it's over. And then he waits until the next time nature's nice light returns. Fear of being single may drive people to settle, stay in bad relationships. Is loneliness causing you to shortchange your love life? A new study finds the fear of being single may be driving men and women to settle in their relationships. Loneliness is a painful experience for both men and women. So it's not surprising that the fear of being single seems not to discriminate the basis of gender. Study co-author Geoff MacDonald, a professor at the University of Toronto's Department of Psychology, said in a press release. Researchers asked a sample of adults of various ages from the US and Canada, including University of Toronto undergraduates, about their thoughts on being single. They were asked to complete different surveys and tasks. In one online survey, 126 women and 27 men were asked about their fears of being alone. About 39% said they didn't fear living their lives solo, and almost 12% said they both enjoyed the positives and negatives of being single. But over 18% admitted they were scared about splinterhood and being alone when they died. Another 6.6% of mostly younger respondents said they were afraid of being lonely as they grew older. In subsequent experiments and surveys, researchers discovered that both men and women were so scared to be single that they were willing to stay in unfulfilling relationships, and people who had fears of being alone were less likely to get out of a bad relationship. That has the participants' romantic interest in subjects who possessed varying level of responsiveness and physical attractiveness. People who were apprehensive about being single picked less responsive and less attractive potential dates. The above scenario was replicated in a speed dating environment. Researchers saw fears about being single drove people to be less selective in showing who they were interested in. However, the fear of being single did not affect people's self-reported standards of what they look for in a mate unless parenting factors were involved. Lead author Stephen Stavman, a postdoctoral researcher in the University of Toronto's Department of Psychology, said in a press release that the study could explain why people were willing to stay in relationships even if they were unhappy, and are more willing to date people who they know are not good for them. Now we understand that people's anxieties about being single seem to play a key role in this type of unhealthy relationship behaviors, she said. The study was published in the December issue of the January of Personalities and Social Psychology.